Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt Crew podcast. Dave Pele, Josh Pele, and Mario Heron trying to get everything in order. It's one of those days for me, guys, where I'm doing it from a different room because whatever. Long story, I'm not going to get into it. But as I start bringing stuff into this room, you got to get the computer, got to grab a light. Then you realize you don't have the microphone. Then I'm running back and forth, like when you're in high school basketball and you're doing suicides, just running back and forth through those lines. 100% me. Like you'd think I have two hands. I figured this out by now, but so we always seem like we're scrambling. It seems like lately it's because of me, but at the same time, I'm looking at Mario here with a whole different background. Josh looks like a little bit of a different background. Mario, you're in a whole different state. It's not just a state of confusion. You're in a whole different state from where you were the last show.
I was about to say you're complaining about that. Talk about moving like 4 states over.
I was getting there. It was a long way for me to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm live from vlogs. Moving's been a travesty. So not all the stuff's here yet. It's all coming Saturday. No Wi-Fi at the apartment yet. The Wi-Fi guy couldn't get out here until next week. Lord knows why. So the only Wi-Fi I can get right now is off a hotspot on my phone, and I got not a lot of time left before that goes out. So I've been having to come to work early and getting it in. So it's what it is.
How's watching the DC treating you?
DC. So it's nice. I'll say this: a lot less chaotic than Chicago. I forgot what a city that you don't have to be fearful everywhere you walk is like. So that part's nice.
That's kind of surprising. I don't know. I always heard crazy things about DC. I didn't know. That's wild. So let me ask you: when you go around the city, do you see? I know you haven't been there long, but is it like people excited about Jaden Daniels and what's going to happen with the Commanders?
So there's literally yesterday we were talking before the show, and the word that was said was the ball has never touched the ground at OTAs for him. The ball's never touched. I'm like, oh, I hope so. You're in shorts.
Oh, there's a lot of interceptions. What does that mean?
I mean, interceptions. It goes either way. Sling it and deal it. Might as well. You're James Winston.
There you go. Anyway, it's exciting right now as we get ready for obviously football season. We're getting closer and closer. I don't know about you guys, but the talk is, of course, Josh is in the South. I'm in Southern California. Mario right now is in basically the DC area, but we're all in areas where I'm closest to the Chargers and Rams, and of course there are a bunch of Raider fans where I'm at. And then Josh right there is, close to not only the Titans, but you have the Falcons, you have the Bengals, and then Mario with the Commanders and the Ravens. And then, of course, coming from the Bears is a lot of talk. So if you have an NFL team in your city, you feel it. It's a different energy. And where the NFL is right now and how big it is, it's never been more popular, right? We talk about this all the time, and people in San Diego are going to hate when I say this, but it's one of the things that makes you a major city if you have an NFL team. The NFL runs sports. And so as much as, you might love baseball, I love baseball. I'm an NBA guy. Josh and Mario are huge NBA guys. There's nothing like having an NFL team. And when you get to this point of the year and you realize the break for these guys for really the entire year really starts in the next few weeks. And then when they come back, man, it is full go till the Super Bowl. And then it is talk after talk and conversation after conversation about these 32 teams in the league, so these 32 quarterbacks, which teams are contenders, which teams are getting ready for the draft, and then it's on. I mean, as a sports fan, it is honestly getting close to the best time of year, right? Where you're going, hey, every single week, there's almost a game every single day, and you are invested. And so somehow it affects your team. And for us and the three of us and the people who are listening to the show, again, it's the Chargers. How does it affect the Chargers going into this year? Going to remind you right now, please give us that thumbs up button and subscribe as well. But we see people that are already on and have stuff to say about the Chargers. Here we are, June 6th, and people are excited about Charger football, and so are we. So, guys, some of the things that have gone on just since last time we saw each other, and apologize for missing the show on Tuesday. Mario, as you just heard, was in the middle of a move, and so some of the things that happened. But just some NFL news for you. I want to start off with Justin Jefferson. Okay, I think most of us would agree, number one wide receiver in the league. Minnesota Vikings signs a 4-year, $140 million contract. Overall, when you guys see that number, is that number that is well spent? Some people have the argument saying wide receivers don't win you Super Bowls. Was that a good contract, bad contract? And what does that mean for hopefully the next star Charger wide receiver? I mean, what is Ladd McConkey going to get? That's what we want to know.
Well, how about we worry?
You weren't supposed to laugh.
Give me a break.
You're supposed to straight face it.
Give me a break. Let's make sure Ladd McConkey belongs in the NFL before we start talking about money. I do have more faith in Ladd McConkey than I do QJ. I've been watching those clips of QJ at practice like everybody else has. I'm not sold he's poised for this giant season, but I still believe in QJ. I think he can pull it together. Do I think it's money well spent? That's a good question, because does the receiver equal wins? The receiver might equal points and, jersey sales and, all those things, but does it actually equal wins? I don't think so. Aren't the Minnesota Vikings the worst team in their division? Has Justin Jefferson won anything with the Vikings? No. Did the Kansas City Chiefs just win a Super Bowl with no receivers and just a great tight end? Yes. So to answer your question, I don't think he's worth all that money, but I do think he's the best receiver in the NFL. So if there's anybody to be paid the most money, it belongs to Justin Jefferson.
So I don't think you're wrong in saying that, especially because of like what we just saw this past year. I think the caveat to that is like you have such a special player in Patrick Mahomes where like he can hide those mistakes, kind of like what Brady did when they went on that Super Bowl run. I think you have to keep Justin Jefferson for the situation and make him as happy as possible, because you have such a young quarterback that out of all the quarterbacks I think that was picked in this draft, I would say that he probably has the least amount of talent, right? Like, I don't think that's a hot take or anything. Like, that's just a fact. He has the less talent of all of them. And when you have that less talented quarterback, you need weapons that are the best in the NFL, and that is Justin Jefferson. If you can keep him, have Jordan Addison as that 1-2, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. But there's a lot of receivers too, Dave, that are coming up on contracts. Like CeeDee Lamb still needs to get paid. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, those guys need to get paid. So it's going to be interesting to see like who pops up next. But just out of the top 5 guys in the NFL, like to your point here, Josh, Justin Jefferson does not have a Super Bowl. A.J. Brown does not have a Super Bowl. Ross St. Brown does not have a Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins, they have not won a playoff game since he's been there. They have won a playoff games in 24 years. And after that's Waddle.
And the team he left has won 2 Super Bowls. And the team he left did fine without him.
Exactly. So to your point.
Yeah, a couple things that you bring up right there. I don't think there's anyone that will sit there and argue the fact that how good Justin Jefferson is. At the same time, Devontae Adams was this a couple years ago before the Raiders got him. It hasn't equaled anything for the Raiders. The Raiders still have a hard time getting him the ball. I mean, the quarterback obviously is the most important key to this, and that's always been an argument. Whenever you talk to wide receivers, and nothing against wide receivers, but we've discussed this before. The guys with the biggest egos on any football roster, I don't care if it's high school, college, or pro, it's the wide receivers and the cornerbacks. They just talk and talk and talk, and it'll tell you how great they are and how important they are. But Devontae Adams hasn't done anything. CeeDee Lamb hasn't done anything. All the guys you just named aren't where their team needs to be. Stephon Diggs, who, obviously wasn't happy in Minnesota, ends up with Buffalo, now is with the Texans, hasn't won a Super Bowl, hasn't been to a Super Bowl. So how valuable is that? The reason I think the Vikings had to make this move is because of J.J. McCarthy, right? It wasn't even, you're locking up Jefferson because Jefferson helps the Vikings win. Even with this contract, most people are picking the Vikings to finish in last place this year in that division. It's because you have to make life easier for your, future franchise quarterback, and that's what they're investing in. But otherwise, I don't think it does anything to help the Vikings. $75 million, no. It doesn't do anything to help the Vikings' chances in 2024.
No, let's think about the best receivers of the last, 10, 15 years. How many Super Bowls does Larry Fitzgerald have? How many does Julio Jones have? How many does Randy Moss have? It doesn't equal Super Bowl wins. I'm perfectly fine with the Chargers getting rid of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and saying, hey, we're going to start with the youth movement. Obviously, I'd like them to still be Chargers because I'm a huge fan specifically of Keenan Allen, but I understand why they did not get paid. And it doesn't make any sense as a Charger fan to want to pay T. Higgins. I don't think he's worth the money either. Dave, I want to ask you about a question. It's actually more of a comment. Chris Harris came out and said that Justin Herbert doesn't possess the clutch factor. What do you think about that? Chris Harris, the cornerback.
Okay, two things on this, okay? And Chris Harris was a guy that when he was with the Broncos, I remember covering the games and going, boy, he's good. He's a good player. I'd love to see him in a Charger uniform one day. But there's a reason why the Broncos said goodbye. Because when the Chargers got him, what they got a washed-up veteran. They got a
Yep.
guy who in his mind could still play and couldn't play. And Chris Harris was a huge disappointment in a Charger uniform. He added nothing to the team. He didn't get what Tom Telesco thought he was getting. And I always have an issue when you run your mouth and you're one of the guys on the roster that didn't do their job. Enough. I mean, what's Mike Davis going to come out next and say something? Like, basically, there's no credibility for me when Chris Harris is talking because you were stealing money. You're one of those guys I talk about that was wearing the ski mask on Fridays and showed up to work to pick up your check because you weren't doing your job. You weren't doing what you're getting paid for. So you're going to go after the guy with the biggest name. Now, the argument back for Chris Harris. If anyone else almost would have said it, I would have been okay with it. Like someone, if it was Keenan Allen that said it, maybe there's some credibility to it because Keenan Allen's the one that played on that side of the ball and still put up numbers and was a productive player. But it wasn't Keenan Allen who said it because you can make an argument back. And this is for us, I think all of us as Charger fans who are either doing the show right now or the people on the side with who are writing messages about Justin Herbert. We always find ourselves defending Justin Herbert, right? I mean, all three of us have said negative things about, hell, it'd be nice to have a game-winning drive. It would be nice not to have a ball knocked down. It would not be nice to know when we have the ball, when we're down by less than a touchdown, that we have a chance of taking the lead and winning this game at the end. Justin Herbert hasn't done that. So we all seem to write off a pass for Justin Herbert as Charger fans saying, hey, you know what, if he had this and he had this and this, we make excuses for him nonstop. We're to the point, though, where how many more excuses are we going to make for Justin Herbert, right? Unfortunately for Justin Herbert, he doesn't have any of those wide receivers or the talent. Hate to say it, he might have the worst talent around him than ever. The running back position is like a huge question mark. The tight end position is a bunch of guys that don't catch the ball, and the wide receivers are a bunch of guys who are unproven. All he has right now is he has an offensive line now in front of him, basically to give him all the time in the world to find guys that maybe can't even catch the ball. He's not really in a perfect situation. He doesn't have the go-to guys. I don't know, but it is hard as a Charger fan, and I'm sure people will agree on this one. It is hard to defend the guy that we think is, a Super Bowl winning quarterback one day, a Hall of Famer one day, the greatest quarterback in franchise history, because the years are passing and he doesn't have the winning percentage to prove it.
Yep. There's three types of people that I can't take their comments seriously. The first one is a person like Chris Harris who did not play well on a specific team like the Chargers and wants to trash the organization. His word means nothing to me. We called him toast when he was a Charger. He was like J.C. Jackson. He was horrible. One of the worst Charger cornerbacks. Him and Brandon Flowers can have a debate who was worse as a Charger. The second type of person that I don't listen to what they have to say is a media personality that wants to get clicks, right? Somebody that says crazy stuff. We see that all the time on social media, talking out of their butt, trying to make you click on their video. Which type of people I'm talking about. And then the third person, we can all relate to this person, is the person that won't put their name on their profile on Twitter or Instagram, and they have a comment. Dude, if you're not man enough to put your name with your comment, I do not care what you have to say. So when Chris Harris Jr. wants to come out against Justin Herbert, couldn't care less. I don't believe in anything he has to say. Like you said, if it was Keenan Allen who came out and said that, then it would mean something to me. Morgan Fox came out and defended Justin Herbert. Of course, if you're still on the Chargers, you're going to defend Justin Herbert. I will argue with you on this. I think Justin Herbert is in a better situation this year than last year, even though he doesn't have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. He's actually going to have an offensive line to protect him, hopefully. We finally have two really good tackles. Trey Pipkins isn't over there. And he can rely more on his run game. There's no run game for Justin Herbert to rely on later in games. This time, even if we pick up Kareem Hunt, that means we'd have three running backs. He's going to have more guys to hand the ball off to, and he's going to have more time to throw the ball. I think Justin Herbert proves this year that he can still be clutch.
I think the thing that Chris Harris, too, is, who do you play for? Primarily, the Denver Broncos, right? It's a rival in our division. At some point, it becomes kind of religion. You can't really say anything nice about the other guys, going on in your division, the other superstars. You give them their flowers, but you don't get them roses. You get the little stuff at Kroger that's like $1, and you get them that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to a flower shop, 1-800-Flowers, and getting them a whole bouquet or anything like that. Like, you're not going to do that. I think that's what Chris Harris did. He's going to admit that, yeah, he's a good football player, he's a good quarterback, but he doesn't have that it factor. All right, dude. Nice. Like, good for you. You're retired. You're looking for something now. Your agent just booked you for Kay Adams, and now you need to make something big out of it. You went for it. Nice. I'd probably go after a quarterback that talks more in the media. Just FYI, that would probably work better instead of a guy that just doesn't really do anything with the media. Nice job. Anyways, to your point too, Josh, I kind of agree that this year he probably is most set up for success because, you mentioned big coaching improvement and O-line improvement. Weapons do take a dip, but schedule doesn't takes a major dip, right? Like the schedule's not a hard schedule by any means this year. He faces some pretty weak defenses. So that could go beneficial to him in a lot of different ways. And let's say that he has a pretty good year, Dave. I think he'll get more flowers, more credit for it because the motive, the kind of agenda around it's going to be, look what he did with this receiving crew. Imagine if he just had one guy as a true number one. Like I think that changes the whole story on Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert needs weapons. I mean, look, yeah, he's going to have more time. I mean, I understand the protection, everything. He has to have something. I mean, every quarterback has at least something, right? Lamar Jackson had Mark Andrews. Nobody was talking about Mark Andrews until Lamar Jackson made it relevant. There aren't guys on this roster that are considered irrelevant guys yet. I mean, Josh drops Ladd McConkey all the time, and we saw the Chargers trade up for him. We're expecting a lot from a guy who hasn't played one NFL game to step up and be, a quality NFL player. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, we're expecting Quentin Johnson to step up and be a whole different guy. For Chris Harris to open his mouth, let's talk about the quarterbacks he played with. I'm sorry that Justin Herbert wasn't Trevor Siemian. Well, who are you talking about? Who are you comparing him to? Are you out of your mind? I mean, the Broncos right there at the top of the NFL as far as teams that didn't make the playoffs. You were part of those teams. For Chris Harris to open his mouth is absolutely ridiculous. Again, a guy that doesn't do anything for the league anymore, but all of a sudden wants to be a relevant personality. You were never that guy. You were never that guy as a player. You aren't that guy as now whatever a so-called media person. It's the wrong guy. It's not the next step to whatever you think you're getting. I think it was a cheap shot. Not a fan of the direction he chose in that whole situation right there. But that being said, Justin Herbert needs to step up and prove people wrong. I'm not so sure the Chargers are doing a lot to help Justin out this year. That's just the way I feel. Someone wrote in the comments, I'd give you credit for the name, but I decided to skim right by about how CeeDee Lamb's about to get paid. CeeDee Lamb is that next receiver that's going to get paid, like we just spoke about. The one thing about the Chargers, they don't have a lot of money wrapped up into. Look, I would love to have the Cowboy problems where they have to decide, are they going to pay CeeDee Lamb? Are they going to pay Micah Parsons? Are they going to pay Dak Prescott? I mean, those are good problems to have, right? Like we have major stars on our team that we drafted, and are we going to take care of these guys? Because they're going to be in salary cap hell. We know the Chargers next year, the salary cap is going to benefit this organization. They can go out and change this thing around very quickly. I have a feeling when we're doing the show in 365 days, we're going to feel a lot different than we do today. Today we're hoping that Jim Harbaugh is able to double our win total from 2023. Next year, I think we're talking about, hey, do they have enough to put together to make a run at a Super Bowl? That's the way it should feel.
Yeah. So the Cowboys spent the least amount of money out of all 32 teams of this offseason. Chargers were the third from the bottom. So the Chargers have barely spent any money as well. This is kind of a PSA. As a Charger fan, we need to be realistic with ourselves. Like Dave said, if we doubled our win total from 5 to 10 this season, that is a huge success. That is wishful thinking. I don't even know if the Chargers can get that many wins. But if the Chargers ended up with 8 wins, I think that's also a huge success. There was a question floating around social media today, a poll, and it bothered me to no end. The question was, would you rather have the 2023 receivers or the 2024 receivers? So first off, that's a stupid question. No, that's a dumb question. Take away. Okay, so Quentin Johnston and Josh Palmer take themselves out, right? It's the same 2 guys. Then you have Ladd McConkey or Keenan Allen, and then DJ Chark or Mike Williams. It's a dumb question. As Charger fans, let's be realistic. This is part of a plan. The Chargers spent the third least amount of money in this offseason for a reason. They are building up. This is not the team, like Dave said, you're going to see in a year. It's going to be a much better team, a completely different team, I believe, next season. So as Charger fans, I think we need to taper our expectations and expect, realistic expectations. Like Ladd McConkey, what do you guys really expect for Ladd McConkey rookie season? If he ends up with 50 catches and 500 yards, I think that's a great rookie season. If Quentin Johnston has 60 catches for 700 yards, I think that's a great second season. That being said, Justin Herbert needs to throw the ball to somebody else too. Is Josh Palmer going to have 2,000 yards? Be realistic with your expectations. Expect some more wins. You can't have 5 again, but you can't expect the Chargers to be this juggernaut in the NFL next season.
Remember, we had the 5th pick this past year, ladies and gentlemen. We fired our coach midway through the season. Like, there's a reason why that happens, because this team was not a good football team. And to come in and think that this is just going to be a miracle run in year one, I just really don't. Like you said, Josh, I don't think that's very smart. We also have a coach. I believe in Harbaugh. I really, really do. Would die for the guy. Maybe like a bullet wound that I lived through. But he's been in college football for a very long time. Like, there's going to be a little bit of adjustment, just a little bit. I'm not saying that it's going to be brutal, but there's going to be a little bit of adjustment of him coming back to the NFL. He's a proven winner. He will win. But I'm just saying it's going to take a little bit of time for that to happen. I agree with you. I think the year one is just the excitement year, and to have a couple prove-it wins. You know, a prove-it win of beating Kansas City, maybe in Kansas City or even at home. Like, that's a prove-it win. Beating the Ravens, that's a prove-it win. Wins that kind of get you excited for the future, and then you build off that, right? Like, I think that's the best option here, Dave. And plus, we're in the AFC. The AFC is a gauntlet, man. It is a gauntlet. So when you look at the expectations, remember that this is not the NFC. There's a lot of big dogs in the den, and that's going to be hard to make it through. And just wait it out, because teams are going to start falling apart here soon. The Bengals are going to fall apart here soon. A lot of people paying. The Browns got a big decision to make if Deshaun Watson isn't what he is this year. So just trust. I'm not going to say trust process. Trust Harbaugh. Just process sucks.
All right. So Jesse Yates writes in here in the comments, says defense wins Super Bowls. Now, we've all heard that expression before, right? I'm not exactly in on that anymore. Not in today's football, because all the rules are designed for the offense. The rules are designed for scoring, for offense, everything else. You know, the old thing you'd hear Marty Schottenheimer say it. We have to be good in all 3 phases, gentlemen, right? Offense, defense, special teams. We've heard of that too. It comes down to your quarterback. Your quarterback and your head coach relationship is what it comes down to when you look at teams that have success. And, you know, you look at Andy Reid, who, let's be honest, Andy Reid lost his job in Philadelphia because they didn't think he could get the job done. But in reality, now that we take a step away from it, we realize Donovan McNabb was the one that couldn't get the job done. McNabb was the one that was falling short. All of a sudden, you get him with Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid looks like the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. And you look at the Chargers right now with their head coach, who all 3 of us are sold on, and I imagine most Charger fans are sold on too, and we're very excited when they announced that Jim Harbaugh was going to be the guy. It was one of those we go, this is good for our quarterback. To me, the Chargers are setting up in the right situation, guys. And I know it's frustrating, and 2024 might be frustrating. I don't know. I'm looking at people who are writing in there saying 8 wins is not a successful season. Dude, you won 5 a year ago.
Yeah, are you guys insane? You guys are insane.
You won 5. Look, I'm not going to be
chat.
happy. I'm not going to be happy with 8 either. I'll be honest with you. I'm at the point in my life when I know I hold the old group card here, but there are a lot of guys like me who I was like, dude, I've lived a good portion of my life not watching this team win Super Bowls. Like, at what point do you start filling up the trophy case? Like, I'm running out of time. Is that going to happen? Am I going to be that Red Sox fan that goes, just before I die, I got to see the Red Sox win or the Cubs win or one of those teams? The Chargers, I think, again, this is an important stepping stone. To go from last to first is extremely hard to do. And for this Charger team, 8 wins, yeah, it's not going to get you hosting a playoff game and get you a run at a Super Bowl. But at the same time, is there a major improvement? Yeah, that's where you want to be, with a ton of money to spend on the salary cap and people saying, I want to be in LA. I want to be part of what I think is going to be the next big thing. And I think that's what the Chargers are setting up to do, is to be the next big thing.
And Mario, I have a question. When you got your driver's license, did you jump on the freeway? Was that the very first thing you did?
No, because
When
I
you
learned
learned how to ride, when you learned how to ride a bike, did you go all the way down a steep hill? You guys idiots. You guys idiots. The Chargers had 5 wins last season. If they were to have 8 wins this season, that is a huge success. Do I expect the Chargers to have around 8 wins? Yes, because I expect this season to be a huge success. For you to say Chargers are going to make a deep run in the playoffs, I would love that. I'm a Charger fan. I would love for the Chargers to have a deep run in the playoffs, but you need to be realistic. I'm going to read some names to you guys. You guys in the comments, tell me if you believe in them, okay? Will Disley, tight end 1. Do you believe in Will Disley? Big Will Disley fans out there? Okay. What about Poona Ford? Okay. What about Atito Agbonia, starting defensive tackle. You guys big fans of him too? Junior Colson, never played it down. Christian Fulton. You guys big fans of Christian Fulton? Jasir Taylor. These are all starters for the Chargers. These are huge question marks. I believe that the Chargers are building in the right direction. But for you to say the Chargers having 8 wins is a failure, you are out of your freaking minds. You're nuts. You're crazy.
Hey, guys, just be happy with what we got. Just be happy that Staley's not gone. Be happy that they're building something, that something's coming, and just realize that not everything is an overnight process. I think the thing that stinks now is when there's new people that come in, especially like a bigger name like Harbaugh. Like they expect an overnight process. They expect the Texans, that DeMeco Ryans overnight, boom, your success, you're a contender now. That doesn't happen a lot. That doesn't happen. Like it's a lot of times it's a steady come up, and you gotta ride it out. You gotta ride it. Like you gotta give guys time. And if you don't give them time, and you say there's unreal expectations, you go through guys quickly. You go through them quick. They're gonna be here for a while. Harbaugh wants to be here for a while. Joe Hortz wants to be here for a while. Let them cook. That's all I'm gonna ask. Let them cook. Like I said, the roster's not the best. The roster is probably the worst it'll ever be in Harbaugh's era.
100%.
At least name-wise, at least name recognition, because they invested in the offensive line, and most people aren't concerned or aren't aware of other teams' offensive line. And there's been a plan, obviously, to build in this organization from the inside out. We discussed this. It's obviously what the plan was. When you look back at what the Texans did a year ago, going from a team that looked like they were struggling to even hiring a defensive coach, which guys like me were like, how do you hire a defensive coach in today's NFL? They were missing the one piece. They're missing the quarterback piece. And once they got the quarterback piece, all of a sudden things jumped dramatically for the Texans and stepped in, and not only a playoff team, but ended up knocking off the Browns. I mean, the Texans made major strides in just 1 year. It would be great to see the Chargers do the same thing. Chargers, I can argue, in a much tougher division than what the Texans were in a year ago. I mean, not to sit there and hammer a team that we don't even talk about very often, but come on, you're in the division with the Titans, Jags, and Colts. Right.
And to your point, they faced the backup QB to make the playoffs.
Yes, and at the same time, the Titans had a quarterback who, come on, Will Levis. Nobody knows if Will Levis is an NFL guy. The Colts lost their quarterback in the first few weeks, right? And Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, complete disaster. So, look, those are 2 games against each one of those teams for the Texans. We'll see where the Texans are as things go on, but for the Chargers, who are they comparing themselves to? Honestly, believe the team that the Chargers compare themselves to, if they compare themselves to anybody, it's the Ravens. And what the Ravens did, I mean, they went to the Ravens organization and stole as many guys as they could to build the Knicks Ravens, which is obviously the team that's going to be on the West Coast, and a matchup against John against Jim, and see which team goes to the Super Bowl. That's the way this thing is set up. The Ravens have had a great history through drafting, through keeping their players, and through being competitive. And that's what the Chargers, I think, are trying to do.
100%. This is a building block year. The Chargers, I projected to have 9 wins this season. I think 9 would be a great number. I think 9 is a very realistic number. Charger fans, I'm also a Charger fan. I hope we win. Look, Mike wants to kill me right now. A number of other people in the comments want to kill me right now. Look, you can call it pessimistic. I call it realistic, okay? People are saying the Chargers should have won 10 last year. The Chargers should have had a winning season the last few years. Well, they haven't. Okay. And you can argue those rosters were better than the roster this next season. The one thing that I do believe in is Jim Harbaugh. Okay. I think he's getting Justin Herbert out of his shell. We've seen that on social media. He looks like he's talking more. He's having more fun. I do have faith the Chargers could win 10 games. I don't think it's crazy, but for you to say the Chargers had a failure of a season, if they don't win 10 wins, I think that's unfair to the Charger players and the Charger organization. So
that's sweet spot, right? 8 to 10 wins.
Yeah. 8 to 10 wins is the sweet spot for me this year. I think that's true. That's going to be where the Chargers are. Mario, I want to ask you about Quentin Johnston's press conference. What are your initial thoughts? I mean, there's some good quotes in there. Do you have anything that jumped out to you?
Well, love how Harbaugh is giving crap about the college football playoff game already. Like, I love that. I was waiting for it. I was like, all right, that's perfect. Way to bring that back in. So a lot of things that stuck out to me was kind of in the end when he's talking about how like he watched over the Packers drop. Like, that was kind of a big thing for me. And I think another thing, Dave, that was really big for me was him working on his route running, because that was something I criticized him a lot last year, was that his inability to create separation, his inability to beat the corner in a one-on-one matchup. It was brutal. It was terrifying. And the fact that he's working on that, I think is huge. I think that's what's going to kind of separate him from others. I hope it's a lot better. I thought he would learn a lot from Keenan Allen last year, but clearly that wasn't the case. Maybe he's going to learn even more this year. I think the overall message I got from it is that he is ready to work. He is ready to get it going. He's ready to get boots on the ground and really hit the ground running. And I honestly think, Dave, that I think he was overwhelmed last year. I've mentioned this before. I think it's hard for rookies to come in on teams that are a win now, because your room for error is very small. When you're on a pretty terrible team to start, your room for error is pretty wide because everyone around you sucks a lot. So it's like, well, if you suck, you're not as bad as the other guy. But when you're on a team that's trying to win, like the Chargers were last year, you make one mistake, it gets glamorized. So I think last year kind of overwhelmed him. I think this year, from the press conference, I have the feeling that he's more comfortable, he's more confident, and I think he's settling into the role and playing in the NFL.
Man, Mario, I hope you're right. I 100% hope you're right. We want to believe that these guys that put the uniform on want to win as much as the fans want them to win and have success. I mean, there's certain guys that seem like they're able to jump in and they embrace it, right? We're hearing from rookies all over the NFL that are talking crazy trash, whether it's talking to, AJ Brown, already, and guys step in and say, I'm that guy. And guys like AJ Brown can sit there and say, where do you get off running your mouth? You haven't done anything in this league yet. To AJ Brown really should be thinking, that's the guy I want on my team. If he's going to do it to me, what's he going to do on Sunday against the teams we hate? And so for a guy like Quentin Johnson, the jury's out, right? We don't know what he is. Is he a guy that's happy just to say I was drafted and get a paycheck and be out of the league in a few years? Or is he a guy that says, hey, I want to be what Puka was for the Rams. I want to be a guy that steps in and makes an instant impact right away. And people are preparing for me as soon as they step in the facility on Wednesday going, hey, you have to be aware of where number one is, because number one's going to hurt this team. And right now there was no threat from him a year ago. Huge disappointment. I mean, the bar is so low for him right now. I mean, they're in a situation where they make a trade to even get a guy like Ladd McConkey because Quentin Johnson couldn't do his job a year ago. And so can he step up and be that guy? He has a ton to prove to all of us, and himself first, but to all of us. Because right now, I don't think anybody really has faith in him. I don't. Why would I think it's going to be any different? He's never shown me anything different. Everything he was criticized for before he got to the Chargers is what he turned out to be. Everything, from the way he even went to catching the ball with his chest, not his hands, right? Not knowing the playbook. Everything that was put on him that a lot of people would be embarrassed by, saying, I'm not going to be that guy when I get there because here's the book on me and it's not good. He didn't do anything to prove any of us wrong, So when I see guys like him, the last thing I'll say, when I see guys like him, I think of Tony Gonzalez, the former Chiefs tight end. He used to say all the time that more than 80% of the guys in this league don't care about wins. They care about the check. And that's really frustrating as a football fan, whether you had a dream of one day of being a player or you just love your team, to say that more than 80% of the players in this league are all about the check and not about the wins. That bothers us. We don't share in the check. As fans, we don't share in the check. We only share in the wins. And that's it. We only care about the scoreboard. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt as much. But guess what? Sunday night, when we're sitting there doing these post-game shows and the team loses and Quentin Johnson drops the ball against the Packers, we're angry. We aren't okay knowing, hey, he's getting paid on Monday. It's not cool.
I think the thing that bothered me about the Quentin Johnston press conference is I feel like he wasn't being truthful. He said the issue for him last year was his lack of focus. Give me a break. You got the game in your hands to ice it against Green Bay and you're not focused? How are you not focused? There's one play to be made to end the game and you're not focused. What does that say? That says, to me, that's a bigger red flag, that you're not focusing in the biggest part of the game in a huge game against the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. That's just not true. Just say you dropped it. Like you didn't make the play. Just own it. He also seemed very sad. I thought Mario, when he was talking, he looked like I hate to use this, but like a beaten up dog almost. Like he looked like he just had no confidence in himself whatsoever. I hate to see that. Quentin Johnston, I still have faith in him that he can produce this next season. I hate to see a guy look like he's just sad and doesn't have faith in himself. realistic expectation to me, I already said it before, is 50 to 60 catches, 500 to 700 yards. If he does that this next season, he's moving in the right direction.
I think last year, when he mentions the lack of focus, I'm going to go back to something that I remember that I had this coach one time who brought all the guys in that were going to play college sports. And he said, half of you are going to quit by sophomore year because you're just happy to be there. Like, you're just happy to say, like, I played college sports. Like, you just wanted to say that. I think maybe there's a little bit of that happen in his rookie year where he's like, I'm just happy to be here. Not like I want to win. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to say, hey, I am in the NFL. And maybe that's where the lack of focus was, right? I think that's kind of where that kind of stems from, if I had to take a guess. This year, I'm with you. 50, 60 catches, I think, is a pretty reasonable goal. I think it helps that he has a new coaching staff coming in that can kind of wipe this slate clean. He has a receiver coach that really, really scouted him in the draft process last year, knows his strengths, knows his weaknesses. He has a coach that went against him, and that saw the type of potential that there is in QJ. So, like you said, there's a lot of, we hope that there's something there. I think the confidence was taken out of him last year. I think the confidence is going to trying to be put back into him this year. And, let's see what happens here, Dave, because we know he's going to get the targets. He just has to perform because there's no one else to get the targets. I'll tell you that much.
All right. That being said, look, you guys are saying everything we want him to feel, right? Like, I still have faith in him. If that was him talking, I still have faith in myself. Look, man, you haven't proven anything. And as you just said, Mario, he's the one getting the targets. In reality, let's say they drafted Jordan Addison. Okay, was on this team. And you were saying, what's the projection, Josh? You would say 80 to 90 receptions. That's what you would say. Not 50 to 60. That's a third guy. I mean, we're setting the bar so low for this guy, and it's unfortunate.
He is the
but
third
that
guy.
would be, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. GTL wrote in here, he said, I saw him last week. The guy was still T-Rexing balls. So has he learned? I mean,
No.
what's going to fix this thing?
We're also in June, so it could change.
Come on.
Dude, I'm sorry. Was he working at Baskin Robbins, scooping ice cream? Didn't have time to work at the craft? I mean, dude, what the hell are you talking about here? What are we doing? I tell you what, why don't we cast both his arms and lock his arms out like this, where he can't do anything but catch the ball with his hands? Let's do something to fix this. This is insane. You know? All right, guy has a lot of heart because he catches every ball with his heart. It's ridiculous. Let's go. Let's be a pro NFL receiver. Let's do it the right way. Let's use your speed and what makes you supposedly a fantastic player. Let's go across the middle. Let's run some slants. Let's create some separation. Let's catch the ball. Let's be good at all aspects of this, because right now you aren't good at this. And, man, the frustration level's here because we know this offense can die with QJ. That's the frustrating part. And when they do cut him loose, when Joe Ortiz says, there's the damn door, good luck to you, which, by the way, they never mean good luck to you. They go, there's the door, good luck to you. That wasn't Joe Ortiz who drafted him. That was Tom Telesco. Go sell your story in Las Vegas. Maybe he'll take a second chance on you. But it's been a complete disappointment. And right now, when you're hearing that, there's nothing about QJ that I like right now. Nothing. It's June 6th, and I'm frustrated as can be. I feel right now like I did after the Packers game because I don't have faith in him, Josh. I don't believe he's a guy that's going to turn things around. And I hope I'm wrong on this thing like you wouldn't believe. But damn it, man, everybody else around him seemed to produce.
Yeah. So we've all seen the same videos of QJ at practice the last few weeks. It doesn't look good. I say, you don't take into account what you see in guys in T-shirt and shorts in the NFL, but holy crap, dude, catching the ball, extend your arms, make it look easy. If I'm the receiver coach, Sanjay Lal, I'm saying, do it again. If you're not going to catch the ball with your hands and you're going to catch it with your body, do it again. Get back in line. Make it a habit. He does not look comfortable catching the ball. In QJ's press conference, somebody asked him the question. We heard that Sanjay Lal, who was with the Seahawks, has been showing you DK Metcalf tape, trying to show you to be more physical, body control. I partly agree with it because body control, I think Quentin Johnston, that's one of his biggest issues. He looks like he's all over the place. He's not controlling his body. DK Metcalf, I understand you want him to be more physical, but QJ is not DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is a very physical receiver. I look at QJ as more of a finesse guy. Maybe watch somebody else's tape like Julio Jones, right? I feel like they're more similar than him and DK Metcalf. I want QJ to be confident. It is a huge red flag to me when he's doing the press conference this week and he looks down, he's looking down. He's not confident. This should be the best time of the season for you. You should be so confident. You're going against air. You're not in pads. Everything should feel good right now. You're not injured. If you're not confident right now, what does that say?
Yeah. And I think the DK Metcalf tape, to your point, like, yes, I think QJ is more of a fancy guy, like a little, something more saucy, something that you want to put on Twitter and see some retweets going. I could see them maybe showing the DK's aggressive to the football. He's aggressive. I mean, he's going to go through that cornerback's mom, family, mother, father, whoever the hell, the whole family line to get that football. He's going to get it. So I could see that's like the movement towards that. I was thinking that too, though, Josh. Like, where's the FU attitude? Like, I almost like it when, I crap on this guy all the time, and I'll continue to crap on him because it's an iconic 1 minute. But Chase Claypool saying that he's a top 5 receiver in the league is forever funny. But at the same time, it's like you got to have that confidence, because if you don't have that confidence in the NFL, see ya, buddy. I mean, you might as well get the resume cooking for another job. Like, you have to have the confidence that you're the best in the business, or like you're just not going to make it. It's the same thing. Like, honestly, you'd say, we're all media guys in the media. Like, you guys know and think that you're the top dog. Because then if you don't think that, well, the branding manager ain't going to think that either. And the next thing you know, you're at the gas station looking for a job. Because that's the only station you can get a job at. So it's what you got to do. More confidence, the better. I kind of stole your story right there, Dave, but I hope I did justice.
So, it's funny is, as you mentioned confidence in professional sports, especially one of the things through my broadcasting career was I had a chance to interview Barry Bonds more than 10 times. And one thing Barry Bonds said, he used to sit in left field when he was on defense, and he's constantly with the mantra, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Guess what? He was the best. He was the best player I've ever seen. But he still had to talk himself up for 3 hours a night to believe I'm the best. And Quentin Johnson, whether it's here's the funny thing. What if Quentin Johnson does believe what he's doing is fine? What if this is good enough in his mind? Like, we all see that, hey, there's room for growth. But what if Quentin Johnson believes, hey, this is as good as it gets, and everyone else has the problem? I don't have the problem. Can he look in the mirror and be honest with himself?
He better. Dude, if you don't want to look in the mirror, just tune into this show. We'll tell you what we think.
Yeah.
Joey Post is like, you better get your act together because these guys are brutal. You better pull it together. It's only going to get worse from here. A couple things on the side, by the way, guys, on the side. Vince wrote, and someone else thought he was joking, hey, Dave, I saw you on Bar Rescue last week. I 100% was on Bar Rescue. That wasn't a joke. Whoever laughed at that comment. I was on Vince. I was on Bar Rescue. Josh actually said that episode too. If you watch that episode again, Josh walks into the bar towards the end of the show. But funny thing, Mario, I don't know if I've told you this. The strangest thing about me, I've been on 3 reality TV shows. Have I told you this?
I own all 3 on Amazon. I literally own all 3.
Yeah, I was on the TV show Blind Date. I wasn't dating. It was part of the date was the couple had to come on my radio show as guests, and that was kind of brutal. Then I was on Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. Do you know who Gene Simmons is, Mario?
Yeah, I remember that show.
Okay, yeah, from the lead singer from Kiss. I was on that show, and then a Bar Rescue. I was on that one. I was mic'd up and had to sit in the bar before he loses his mind, basically, how everything's falling apart and he's screaming. So I was mic'd up with an earpiece.
How scripted was that, by the way?
I was the only one that was mic'd up, except with the guy next to me, who was a guy I did a radio show with. And here's a little a backstory on that. So we walk in there, and no one in the bar knows that we're basically the producers mic'd us up, and we're told to order whatever, like an old fashioned and whatever my buddy got. My buddy's a big germ freak. All right, so here comes the host of the show, kicks in the door and loses his mind, and he's screaming. He's like, "What the hell's this?" And he picks up something behind the bar. I'm not a big drinker, so I couldn't mix drinks. And he goes, "What's this?" And it's what my buddy's been drinking all night long out of this bottle. Okay, and he goes, "This thing's supposed to be refrigerated. How long has this been out?" And the bartender's like, 6 months, and he takes his phone, turns the flashlight on, and it goes underneath the bottle, and the whole bottle, dude, is filled with bugs. All right. And my
Oh.
buddy's been drinking these bugs for 3 hours. And I just looked at him and I said, "Hey, you want me to take it to urgent care?" He's like, "Yes." He almost had a complete meltdown. For a guy who's a germ freak, and all of a sudden, here he is drinking bugs for 3 hours through alcohol. It was brutal, but no, it wasn't scripted at all. Actually, there's a lot of stuff on there where he loses his mind that they took out of the show. Because I'm like, I don't think you can put that on TV. Like he's sitting there going, "Hey, that doesn't fly. You can't say those certain words, And so,
You're
but
looking
anyway,
around like someone's got a real man.
dude, I was kind of freaking out, like not exactly the Me Too stuff, but kind of in that direction where you're going, I don't think you can say that today. But yeah, it was that was it. So Vince, you made the comment. I saw you on that. It's 100% true. I was on Bar Rescue. You weren't just, I think, cracking jokes. I think he actually caught me on there. But every time they aired that show, I get phone calls every week. They seem like they aired every single week. Anyway,
During
and then
COVID, I
Point
ripped that, by the way.
Say that again.
During COVID, that and Jersey Shore,
Yeah.
I like rewatched.
I think it's
amazing.
I think it was a season 5 show. I think I was on season 5. Anyway, and then just to save face for myself, because Point Loma baseball won't go away. We lost, I told you, in the city championship game in baseball to Point Loma. Their pitcher threw a one-hitter. Technically, we threw a one-hitter too. They got their second hit came on a runner's interference, so the guy booted the ball as it was about to be an automatic double play or a shortstop. So they actually get credit for a hit that way. They gave up one hit. We gave up one hit. Let's calm down. It wasn't like a big ass kick, and we went home crying and we didn't belong here. Okay, we were right there with you. So don't sit there and expect tears. Enough of the Point Loma baseball stuff. All right,
Yeah,
we're coming for you. We're coming for
Screw off, Point Llama.
So there you go. Anyway, I had to protect myself a little bit here. Look, here's the deal for me with the Chargers guys. You have the quarterback, you have the coach. Here's what I thought was interesting too, because before the show started, there are a ton of Laker comments on here. Obviously, most people who are Charger fans are also Laker fans as well. How crazy would it be for Los Angeles to get the coach that won the national championship in football and basketball?
Wow.
Yeah, kind of wild. Like, hey, you know what? We're going in that direction here. That's what we're going to end up doing. But that's it's kind of like what LA sports is, man. The bar is really high to be competitive, and for the Chargers, not only competing with a team like the Rams in their same building, but you're fighting for that entertainment dollar. And that we all know about that Dodgers lineup's insane, and the Lakers obviously a big show, but that entertainment dollar of where you're going to spend your money, the Chargers are trying to give you a reason of why you need to spend your entertainment dollar with them. It's not just, they don't want to be that team that, hey, we have, 2 soccer teams and the Lakers and the Clippers and the Rams. We want to be your team. And that's the goal. I know the Spanos family to be that NFL team, as we started the show with, how important it is to have an NFL team in your city, that they want your entertainment dollar. They, the Spanos family, look, Mario can tease me for being old all he wants. Dean's old enough to be my dad. So what does that say about Dean and what he expects? He wants to win right now too.
Yeah, next show we should go through where Justin Herbert ranks amongst the best athletes in Los Angeles.
Yes.
I think everybody would have a different opinion. All right, we're going to get to AK's question because he's freaking out. Can you throw that one up there?
Yeah. Also, Dan Hurley, no one, please don't go to LA. Please don't. I don't want him there. Sorry.
All right, so AK asks, Mario, this is my question. Let's say Herbert and his receivers go off in training camp. Is that concerning for Jesse Minter's defense in the secondary? So you want me to answer the question first? I'll go first. So
you go first.
No. If Justin Herbert is not getting tackled, which he will never get tackled in practice, he should go off every single day. You know why? Because he's Justin freaking Herbert. He's one of the best players in the world, one of the best quarterbacks in the world. If he's not getting touched and he's going against air, I expect Justin Herbert to have a great day every day, especially against the Chargers secondary. So I don't think it's concerning for Jesse Minter. I think he needs to tip his cap and say Justin Herbert's that guy. But I expect Justin Herbert to have a great day every single day.
If anything, that makes me more excited for Herbert because that shows that Herbert really took a step. If he's doing that to a pretty good defensive coordinator and not a bad defense, that shows me that wow, this guy's taking a step and he's doing this with these receivers. It makes me excited for the year. And I think to your point, like if you're Jesse Minter, you realize that you have a top 5 quarterback in the NFL and that practices are going to be tough. Practices are going to be hard. And the amount of guys that are better than Herbert are very, very slim in the NFL. So you're going to expose you guys to a top tier talent. It's good for them. It's good for them to see, good for them to go against because you have Mahomes twice a year. So I wouldn't be worried about it at all. If anything, guys, I think it's going to be a good battle between the offense and defense going through training camp. And as long as the defense can respond the next day or maybe the next, drill they do, I think that's all that matters. As long as there's a battle. If it's all one-sided, then, call me AK and we can talk and I'll be really, really nervous and I'll be pooping my pants. But until then, as long as it's a battle, I'm all for it.
All right, last thing I want to bring up to you guys, Darren Waller's going to announce his retirement from the Giants. That he has obviously had zero desire to show up to any kind of workouts at all. It looks like it's coming to an end. We all saw him kind of break down a little bit with, the divorce and the crazy rap song and everything that he's put together that seems like it's not working very well for Darren Waller. 31 years old. He announces his retirement. If you're the Chargers front office, would you do anything to talk him out of retiring and making a move to bring him to Los Angeles?
What do you think?
I
yes,
would.
Kamaru asking me. Okay.
I feel like you guys both want him.
I say that because we don't have a threat. Like to me, it's a threat offensively for Herbert. And look, I don't want to call anybody a psycho because I don't know what anybody's going through, but balance wise, he hasn't been, it looks like from the outside, he hasn't been mentally balanced for a number of years, right? He had a couple crazy, really good years with the Raiders, and he was a great story about fighting substance abuse and everything else. And then the Giants thought they were getting this guy, and he wasn't the guy the Giants thought they were getting. Again, the marriage falls apart. He's falling apart, it looks like, in front of us. But, man, if he had a desire to say, hey, I need to get my mind on something else, and football's always been there for me, I want to play again, I just don't want to play in the Giants organization. If I was the Chargers, I think I would test the waters. I think I would try and see if Darren Waller was interested in being an NFL player again. Because at age 31, he should still be able to do it. And then, when he's Darren Waller, he's, the football player, he's really one of the best in the NFL. You look like way. You don't want to bring that in the locker room.
I don't want Darren Waller. He's just not all in. I think the whole thing about Jim Harbaugh is he wants guys that are all in. He's bringing in guys that love football, and I don't believe that Darren Waller loves football anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, I don't think he loves it anymore. I think he's kind of out. He's doing this whole rap thing, and I'm all for it, saying your feelings and expressing how you feel. Just I don't know. I'm more of a tell like 4 people. I don't need to tell the world. But hey, do what you gotta do. Also, just I went ahead and listened to the song, and I listened, watched the music video and everything. Woo! I mean, not the best singer in the world. Also, just all right, just quick thing. All right, let's just dive into this real quick. Like, I just don't get. And help me out here, fellas. I really don't get, like, if you're a celebrity and you go through a breakup or whatever you go through, I really don't get making it more and more popular. I really, really don't get it. Like, I make a song if you want. I would keep it in the house. I don't get, keeping it flowing through the media and then having documented proof for all eternity. It just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. At some point, that age is bad.
Yeah, but don't you think he put it together and put it out there because he thought it was good? He didn't think it was crap.
Definitely. Yeah.
He immediately thought, watch this. This is really good. It wasn't very good.
Yeah. People do that every day in sports.
Every day. I'm looking at Josh in the square right now. Josh and I know a bunch of guys just like him. Do this all the time.
What, they put their foot in their mouth?
No, guys who make music, and you just go, holy crap. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many guys do you go to high school with, Josh, that have tried the music game?
Dude, there's one that's watching right now. He's actually good. Sebi OG. He's actually really good, but most guys aren't. Antonio Brown. Yeah, it's another guy. Somebody wrote in the comments. Joshua put in the comments. Yeah. No, not a fan.
I mean, God, Deion Sanders.
I mean,
made a
chase your
song.
dreams.
Hey, Kobe
Yeah,
Bryant made
yeah,
a song. None of them were good. Shaq was terrible. There are a bunch of guys that are terrible at this.
I'm just saying,
Good.
chase your dreams, but I don't know. Just I would express the full details of a breakup. I don't think that's a good idea. I just don't think that's a good idea. If I was a PR guy, I was like, why don't you just send it to me? Well, I'll act like I sent it out. As your ex is playing WNBA basketball, trying to win a title right now.
San Diego
It's
girl.
fair to
Yeah.
her.
She
Yeah.
went to high school. Went to high school where I'm at. Yeah.
Like seriously, like that poor girl. Like, dude, I don't know. The whole thing blows my mind. Like if I broke up with a girl and I saw a music video about it the next day, I'd be like, what's going on? I was like, what? Like, what is happening? Are you kidding me?
Dude, look, I don't think this is hard math here, but I think honestly, when you break up with someone, you don't write a song about them. You go and you get a hotter girl. That's how you show her you missed out. Look where I just pulled. Yeah.
Or push it down. Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Good for him.
All right.
If it helps him, good for him.
All right. There we go. Look at that. This thing went completely off the rails. So I just asked you guys want to see Darren Waller in a charge uniform. It went completely into a disaster situation. All right. We're going to be back on Tuesday. All right. Mario's all moved in. He's going to have Wi-Fi. Everything's going to be good. We don't plan on missing the show. We're going to be fine, ready to go. Actually, we'll be good. We'll be good the next two shows. No problem at all. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I'm going to actually, one of these shows I should be, am I going to be there with you, Josh? Right? I'm going to come go see Josh. Maybe I'll have some blue lights behind my head.
You're not going to do a show here.
I won't be doing a show with from Josh's place, but yeah, I'm going to go see Josh for a couple days. I'll time it out.
I have one of my lightsabers if you want.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I got two. I thought they would look way cooler than they do. They don't look that cool.
Can we post? I'm gonna post the photo tomorrow. So like I screwed up obviously on Tuesday. I'm so posting the photo tomorrow of Josh looking ready for the show. I'm so posting that.
That was so sad. It took me like 10 minutes.
Background looks good.
It added a little bit of a little color.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. Mario looks like he's standing next. Sorry, I was saying Mario looks like he's next to a window, and there's an 18-wheeler parked right outside with his lights on. Like, how bright is it?
I am. Like you're about to enter heaven right now.
You do look like you're about to enter heaven.
I am. Coming to you straight from Jesus. Oh, we haven't cussed all show.
Oh my gosh. Look at that. It's crazy. All right. We'll get out of here. Again, give us the let's just change the colors. Let's go. We're gonna remind you again. Please give us the like button. I know today's show was a little all over the place, but I think there's some good Charger stuff in there, or at least opinions. Appreciate the people leaving the comments as well. Like button, subscribe button. We need all that stuff. We'll be back on Tuesday, 1:00 Pacific time. For Mario Heron, Josh Pele, I'm Dave Pele. We'll see you in a couple days.